Good morning, Ruth Green Hornets. It's Mrs. Ambrose, and today is Monday, September 23rd. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led in a separate video. I want to remind you to sign up for the walkathon and try to get donations for our walkathon. It will take place on October 9th, and if the whole school raises $12,000, Mrs. Ambrose is going to get a pie to the face. So make sure you sign up and you get some donations. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Sharp's class, Miss Pudlow's class, Miss Miglio Vihar's class for completing the expectation passport. Nice job. I also want to remind you, cell phones are not allowed at school. If you do have a cell phone, it needs to be turned off and given to the teacher. September is self-control month, and your question of the day is, tell me about a time when it was difficult for you to use self-control. Can you think of a time when you had a hard time controlling yourself? And I remind you of the golden rule. Ruth Green is a kind school. That means we treat each other with kindness. So that means we treat each other the way we want to be treated, with kind words and kind deeds. We don't call names, and we keep our hands and our bodies to ourselves. I hope you have a wonderful Monday and repeat. Oh, I almost forgot shout outs. I got a whole bunch of shout outs to do. Wait a minute. Here we go. From Mrs. Leslie, a shout out to my whole class for learning our school rules and completing the PBIS passport. Well, I missed a shout out for that. Congratulations, Mrs. Leslie's class. From Miss Castiglione, shout out to my whole class for finally finishing our PBIS passport. Well, there's another one I missed. Congratulations, Miss Castiglione's class. Shout out to Andrea Day, Kareem Whitaker, and Dayton Dillard for working so hard to write their first name. From Mrs. Vihar and Mrs. Miglio, Amaya Thomas, Tremaine Rouse, Lindsay Jacks, and Amir Taylor for being helpful and kind to their classmates. From Miss Obany, I would like to shout out Jackson Kedrow for helping a friend with their spelling assignment, and Kennedy McCullough for sharing her supplies with a classmate. Way to be kind. I would also like to shout out to my entire class for doing an amazing job on the fire drill. You met all the behavior expectations for the fire drill practice, and I'm very proud of each and every one of you. From Mrs. Casalino, welcome to our new students. Antonio Morgan, India Lee Beasley, Mary Wilson, Nioa Petito, Cassidy Caddy, and Dia McCaleb. I also would like to, Ms. Sharp would like to do some shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my entire class for doing such a great job during the fire drill. You followed all the expectations we talked about and practiced. Great job. From Mrs. Viado, I would like to shout out Milese for always doing such a great job walking quietly in the hallways, Keith for working so hard in class, and Zaria for always participating in class discussions. We are off to a good start. From Mrs. Costa, Isaiah Green, Student of the Week, Dearion for showing self-control every day. From Mrs. Taylor, special shout out goes to Violet and Madison for working really hard this week on everything that they do. I appreciate you. And from Mr. Kowicki, I'd like to shout out the entire class for their great behavior and specials this week. I would also like to shout out Sakaya Howard and Sanaa Duff for being leaders in the classroom. Wow, that's a lot of shout out. You guys have been working hard and following the expectations around the school. Way to go. If you didn't hear your name, keep trying your best, working hard in class and following the expectations around the school. And maybe next week you will hear your name too. I hope you have a great Monday, and now repeat after me. Ruth Green Hornets are respectful, responsible, and ready. I fly right with Hero. Hey, have a good Monday. Bye.